Welcome to this week's Champions League Matchday 6 Best Bets show. The games we played, Tuesday, December 10th and Wednesday, December 11th. Let's cover the best Champions League predictions from each day with 3 different parlays covering 8 different games, plus 2 games that I think have some good draw potential between some of the bigger teams facing off. If you enjoyed this info in the video, be sure to give the video a like. While you're watching, you can subscribe to get more. There's also members-only picks in the community section as well, shared each week. So let's start off with Girona and Liverpool. On Tuesday, Liverpool been near perfect all season in all competitions. Champions League, they're top of the pile right now, 5-0-0, outscoring opponents 12-1. They're also first in the EPL as well at 11-2-1. The Reds will come in rather fresh here as their game on the weekend with Everton was postponed because of Storm Dara. Their last game was a wild 3-3 draw with Newcastle. If you look at all competitions, they are 18-2-1, undefeated in 17, and they've scored multiple goals now in 9 straight games. Girona has struggled in the Champions League. They're 30th, way down there near the bottom. 1-0-4, being outscored 9-4. In La Liga on Saturday, they played Real Madrid, lost 3-0. They've now gone 0-1-3 in their past 4, and they were knocked out of the Copa del Rey to a lower tier side last week. They've scored now just 2 goals in 4 games, and those came later in the game against Villarreal as they were down 2-0 and drew 2-2. Girona has struggled against much weaker teams than Liverpool so far. Their one Champions League win came against a team actually below them, 35th place, Slovan Bratislava. Liverpool, one of, if not, Europe's best teams right now, and they should easily have too much talent for this not to be another 3 points for the Reds. Liverpool to win, they should likely win by a couple, but in this parlay, Liverpool to win, and we'll pair it up with one more result from one of the earlier games on Tuesday. We have Dinamo Zagreb and Celtic. 2 teams have seen some of the most goals scored in their games so far this tournament. Zagreb's games have averaged 5.0 goals per games, and Celtic's 4.0. That's come with scores of a 9-2 loss, 2-2 draw, 2-0 win, 4-1 win, and 3-0 loss for Zagreb, and a 5-1 win, 7-1 loss, 0-0 draw, 3-1 win, and 1-1 draw for Celtic. Both have suffered some heavy defeats, obviously, and by superior teams, and they've also had some comfortable wins. Zagreb has gone 4-1 to over 2.5, 5-0 to over 1.5. They scored in 4 of 5 and also given up a goal in 4 of 5. Celtics just 3-2 to over 2.5, but 4-1 to the over 1.5. They scored in 4 of 5 and conceded in 4 of 5 as well. This could be close. We could see goals from both, or at least 2 in some fashion. In the Scottish League, Celtic 14-1 to over 1.5, and in Croatia, Zagreb have gone 12-4 to over 1.5. Form-wise, though, Celtic comes in as the much hotter team since an embarrassing 7-1 loss to Dortmund. They've gone undefeated now in 13 games, 10-3-0. They've won 9 of 10, scored multiple goals in 8 of 10, and also kept clean sheets in 3 of their last 4 games. Zagreb slumping, though, with no wins across 5 in all competitions, while also only scoring 3 goals and only scoring once in their last 4. In 23 games across all matches this season, only a 0-0 with Atalanta has seen the boys not get on the score sheet. Go back further, they've scored in 34 of 35 and 46 of 48. So all I will ask for here is Celtic to get on the score sheet. So Celtic over 0.5 goals, paired with the Liverpool win to come in at minus 118 odds at Caesars. I think this looks like a bet that has some good chance of hitting there. So let's go to another parlay here. 3 different games also on Tuesday. Shakhtar Donetsk and Bayern Munich. Shakhtar just 2 points below the playoff line right now at 1-1-3. They're 26th. Their points have come versus other struggling sides. A 0-0 draw with 33rd place Bologna and a 2-1 win over 36 Young Boys. After losing 2 straight in the Champions League, Bayern responded with 1-0 wins over Benfica and PSG. They're still just 13th, though, at 3-0-2. Harry Kane went off injured versus Dortmund 3 games back in a 1-1 draw. Since that time, they lost to Leverkusen in the Pokal last week and then won, but in a much closer than you might think 4-2 game over Heidenheim this weekend. Now, Kane should return this year, but not quite yet. This weekend, though, they also saw they saw different players get on the score sheet. Dayot Upamecano, Leon Goretzka got on the score sheet with a goal each, and Jamal Musiala had a brace. To add to the injury list, though, both Kingsley Coman and Alphonso Davies also suffered injuries this weekend. With Captain Manuel Neuer missing out this weekend with a rib injury, it could be a Champions League debut for Israel international keeper Daniel Peretz. They should still have enough Bayern firepower to likely see off Shakhtar here, who were 3rd in Ukraine, typically struggles in the Champions League. They've only won 1 of 6 and 5 of 24 recent matches when playing in the tournament. Now, the Schalke being the default home stadium right now for Shakhtar, Bayern will be playing in familiar surroundings in Germany. We're going to pick Bayern. They're big favorites here. We'll shorten the odds from what they are favored on the money line to a little bit better price at just asking them to score over 1.5 goals. Next up, Club Brugge and Sporting. 22nd Club Brugge, 2-1-2, hosts 10th Sporting, 3-1-1. In Belgium, Brugge have racked up 36 goals in 17 games, and they sit in second. Sporting have stumbled after the departure of manager Ruben Amorim to Manchester United. They're first in Portugal still, though, but they have lost 2 straight, 1-0 and 2-1 in the league. Add in a 5-1 smashing in the game prior, and it's 3 straight losses, being outscored 8-2. Now, that's derailed the season that saw them undefeated since the Super Cup back 18 games prior. That 1-0 loss to Santa Clara 2 games back is the first and only time they haven't scored, though, this season. Brugge have haven't lost in any game in 10, and they have just 1 Champions League loss to AC Milan over their last 15. They've scored in 16 straight games and in 23 of 25 overall games this season. Recently, though, they have given up a goal in 5 of 6, but only more than 1 goal 1 time in any of their last 10. This actually has great potential, I think, for the both teams to score to hit. Sporting, though, have one of the top strikers right now in Europe, Victor Gyökeres. I'm just going to bet on Sporting to get on the score sheet here. Sporting over 0.5. And then we have a big Super Cup rematch here between Atalanta and Real Madrid. 5th Atalanta in the Champions League standings, 3-2-0. One of only 3 teams that have yet to lose. They're hosting, surprisingly, 24th place Real Madrid, 2-0-3, who are holding on to that last playoff spot, so desperately in need of getting some points here. This is a rematch of the Super Cup to kick off the year, where Madrid won 2-0. Back in 2021, they met in the Champions League, and Madrid won 1-0 and 3-1. La Dea started slow this season, but they are now one of the hottest teams in Europe after besting AC Milan 2-1 this weekend. They've won 9 straight, are undefeated in 14, scored multiple goals in 9 straight, as well as outscoring opponents 28-5 in that time. Madrid rolled Girona on the road this weekend. Goals from Bellingham, Güler, Mbappe. They lost away to Bilbao, though, earlier last week, and they were thoroughly outplayed in their last Champions League game against Liverpool, losing 2-0. They're still out several defenders, but we'll possibly see back Vinicius and Rodrigo for this game. Madrid's form's all over the place. They've been poor in the Champions League, but then they've won 4 of 5 recent games in La Liga. But let's look at those wins. They've come over Girona, Getafe, Leganes, Osasuna, and lately they failed to step up in some of the big games with losses to Bilbao, Liverpool, Milan, Barcelona, Lille, and a draw with Atletico Madrid. This is another big opponent, so right now, given the form, I might lean to Atalanta getting the win, or at least a double chance, or a draw no bet in a parlay. Both teams to score certainly has an option. I think there's just maybe too many options in this game, so I'm just going to settle on Atalanta getting on the score sheet. We'll go Atalanta to score, paired with the Sporting to score, and Bayern to get at least over 1.5, coming in at minus 124 odds over at Caesars. You could bump that up if you chose to go both teams to score, Atalanta, Real Madrid, both teams to score, instead of just Atalanta to score. That would be plus 120. Now let's move into Wednesday here. Borussia Dortmund and Barcelona. Dortmund have been mediocre in the Bundesliga, but in the Champions League, they're 4th, 4-0-1. Outscored opponents 16-6. Their opponents, Barcelona, have been even better, though, sitting 3rd, 4-0-1, outscoring opponents 18-5. Both teams come off of draws this weekend on Saturday. Dortmund 1-1 away to Gladbach. Barcelona 2-2 with Betis. Both usually score, and they both usually often concede. Dortmund have scored in 18 of 20 games in 7 straight, and conceded, though, in 14 of 20, with clean sheets in 3 of 6 and only 2 goals conceded in their past 4 games. Defense hasn't been an issue lately for them, but they'll still be hard-pressed to shut down the high-flying scores that are Barcelona. They've scored in 21 of 22. They've also conceded, though, in 16 of 22 and 9 of 11. We will go both teams to score. Certainly, both teams score over 2.5. Could be good as well. Atletico Madrid and Slovan Bratislava. Atletico's games have been sort of wide open in the Champions League. They've scored 11, conceded 9. They're 5th, 3-0-2. All 5 games have gone over 2.5, and 3 of 5 have seen both teams to score an over 2.5 prop cash-in. Slovan have been one of the whipping boys in Champions League. They're 35th, second from the bottom, 0-5, still winless, and outscored 18-4. Atleti played Seville Sunday at the Metropolitana at home, and they had a thrilling 4-3 win, fighting back from 3-1 down in the second half and winning that game in stoppage time. They've now won 9 straight in all competitions, outscoring opponents 27-6. They're always a good bet when they're playing at home, no matter the competition. Atleti has just 4 home losses in 55 games. They should easily get the win here, win by 2 or 3, win and score 2, or just Atletico Madrid over 1.5. I've used that prop over at Caesars. Lille and Sturm Graz to conclude this parlay. Lille, one of the surprises of the tournaments here. They're 3-1-1, and they're 12th. After losing their first game, they pulled upsets over Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, drew Juventus, and then beat Bologna. They'll host Austria's first-place team here in Sturm Graz, who are 29th in the Champions League, way down there at 1-0-4 after 4 straight defeats. Graz finally got a win last round, 1-0 over Girona. I'd expect Lille to get the win here, or at least score for this parlay. Graz has clean sheets in 3 or 4 recent games, but they have overall conceded in 18 of 24 games this season. Lille on an incredible run right now where they have not lost in 14 games. They've scored in 13 of 14, and they've scored multiple in 4 of 5. Like I said, I would expect Lille to get the win, but for the sake of this parlay, as we're trying to pair together some simple props here, Lille to score, Atletico Madrid over 1.5, Dortmund, Barcelona, both teams to score, coming in at minus 115. Those will be the 3 official parlays. Let's take a quick look at 2 other games, though, in Champions League Matchday 6 that could have some big draw potential, I think, as we have 4 teams here, all some of the top teams in Europe. So let's look at this one. Bayern Leverkusen, Inter Milan on Tuesday. This is the 3rd place team in Germany hosting the 3rd place team in Italy. So far in the Champions League, there's just 1 loss between them. Leverkusen, 3-1-1, Inter 4-1-0. Leverkusen have only allowed 5 goals in 5 games, and Inter still 0. The only team that's yet to give up a goal. But then the 7 goals scored is only better than Aston Villa's 6 among any team ranked in the top 21. Bayern are also out attackers, Patrick Schick, Victor Boniface. Bayern are at home. Inter haven't lost, though, in 13 games, and they have just 1 loss all season. I would expect this to be tight. There's some good draw potential here, I think, at plus 250. And then we have the draw kings right now of Juventus hosting the slumping Manchester City. This one's on Wednesday. Juve, like I said, the draw kings, they have 9 in Serie A. They're 6-9-0. Those 9 draws, easily the most. Nobody else has more than 7. They've drawn 3 straight in the league in Serie A. Close games have continued in the Champions League, where they're 19th, 2-1, scoring 7, conceding just 5. Now, if we look overall, though, in any match for Juventus, they have just 1 loss all season in any competition, which is great. However, they've drawn 4 straight in 7 of their last 9. At this point, blindly betting draws in Juventus might just be the best strategy. Man City are all kinds of inconsistent themselves lately. They're winless in 2 Champions League games. They've drawn 2 of 5. They're 2-1. In all competitions, they have just 1 win in 9, which is just unthinkable for this team. They've conceded in 8 of 9, and they just drew on this weekend in this last game against Palace, 2-2. This game also could be a good draw at plus 240. So those are my best bets and a few draw options there to consider for Champions League Matchday 6. What do you like this week? Be sure to share what you're betting down there in the comments, and good luck this week.